we're actually going to show you today how to make a wonderful simple mousse using good quality chocolate, of course, and the only other ingredient is cream and some unsalted butter. Now what you need to do is you need to make a ganache first, and then we're going to show you methods of actually creating the ganache into a fluffy mousse type mixture that we're going to then pipe into some wonderful little cups that we're going to use some transfer sheets. The transfer sheets are nothing than coloured cocoa butter that's been printed onto a sort of a plastic film. You can see we've got some little daisy ones here. I mean, they come in hundreds and hundreds of different designs and different colours, etc. these days, but they're great if you want to do something a little bit different for either decorating your cake or making, as we're going to do, some little mousse cups. So that's what we're going to do in a minute. First of all, I'll show you here that actually I've already pre-made the ganache, and ganache is in one of my other shows, if you happen to have caught that before, and it's really just cooking your cream and your chocolate together, then adding your unsalted butter, and now we need to have cooled that down to about 28 degrees. And if we actually start to aerate it when it's too hot, it's not going to emulsify together the way we want it to. So we've cooled it down to 28 degrees, and of course with any kind of chocolate work, when you're working with kombucha chocolate, your most essential tool is your digital thermometer. So we're just going to make double sure that it's 28 degrees, and counting to 10, 9, 8. Yep, perfect. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to put it into a mixer. And this little mixer now is going to make a bit of a noise, unfortunately, but it needs to go up for at least 3 minutes. Now this is a process that needs to take at least 3 sessions. So we're starting to aerate it, and it's going to take at least about 10 minutes to do this. Then you need to cool it and come back and do it again. Now this is stage 1, so we've let this run there for about 10 minutes, and you'll also notice that of course as you beat the ganache, it's going to become lighter in colour as well. So what I need to do now is pop it in the fridge for about 20 minutes and give it some cooling down time. But make sure that when you put it in the fridge, I'll leave the beaters in there because I'm going to need them again. Now this process you're going to need to do at least about 3 times, and each time once it cools down, you aerate it again, and it becomes lighter and fluffier, and of course it becomes almost double in size as well. And then we're going to pipe it into our mousse shells, which we're going to do now. So this is going to go into the fridge. Now, chocolate again, kombucha chocolate. This doesn't look all that exciting, but believe me, it's a good quality chocolate. It's got about 55% cocoa content, which means it's a little bit on the sweet side, of course, but nice enough for our little shells. Now, tempered chocolate, of course, kombucha chocolate always needs to be tempered. It needs to be 32 degrees, so again with my thermometer, I'll just make sure that my temperature is absolutely spot on, because we don't want to be over. If the chocolate is too hot and we haven't quite pre-crystallized, then of course it's not going to set. It's going to be quite sticky. It may not even move away from our transfers. And here we go, 31.8. So that's just taken down to 2.5 degrees that I required. So my chocolate is now ready. It's nicely tempered and of course ready to go, and I'll show you how to do the little transfer sheets. What I've got here is transfers. This is just a little cookie cutter, so I've got a round one here. So we're going to do one of those little teardrop shapes and various shapes of the round. So when you've got something that you can just sit it in, this is just a couple of egg rings that I've taped 2 together to give me a bit more height. Again, just simple things that you've got in your ordinary kitchen, so you don't have to go out and spend a lot of money on equipment. It's amazing what you can utilise that you've got in your own little kitchen at home. Transfer sheets are available usually from most chocolate suppliers, or you can even get them online now. So what you'll need is a spatula. And I've also got an acetate sheet here, which is a clear bit of plastic, which helps me lift it up then when I've spread the chocolate on top. So just spreading the chocolate on a nice thin layer. Make sure that it's nice and even. Then you just grab hold of one corner and put it back on here. Then we're going to do the same thing with one of the round ones. Now it's a waiting game. You need to wait until the chocolate is just becoming a little bit touch dry before you can actually fold it over. One we're going to make into a teardrop, and this one we're going to roll over. So you need to lift it off. That separates the edges, gives you a nice sharp edge. And what you can also utilise, of course, is an ice pack, which is what I like to use because it works very quickly. You don't have to sit around and wait, particularly if the weather's warm like it is here at the moment. And just pop it on your ice. We'll give that about 30 seconds. Okay, here we go. That one, now this one is ready to fold over. So I'm just going to take the edges, pinch them together and form them into a nice little teardrop shape. Make sure you pinch them nicely so they then bond, and you can give it a bit of a flute if you like. This one's again needs a bit of a cool down. And that one's right. So this is now going to go inside my little ring. You need to overlap it a little bit because when it's set, then you can actually just cut the chocolate off with a hot knife. One of the other things about chocolate is that it has so many potentials for simple things that you can do. We're just going to use a simple thing called bubble wrap and spread some chocolate on that, and just makes a great little dessert topping for even just decoration for a cake. The beauty about this is that you can actually have them in your cupboard or your pantry, and next time you make a cake or next time you serve a dessert, you just simply break a bit off and stick it on. It makes a great decoration. We're also going to use it on our dessert cup. So just a matter of working the chocolate in between the bubbles. Just give it a slight push down. Don't push down too heavily, of course you're going to break the bubbles if you do that. So just working it backwards and forwards. As you can see, we also make a box out of bubble wrap, a chocolate gift box. We might do that on one of our other shows, show you how to make a gift box using the bubble wrap. Makes a nice little gift container. It takes a fair bit of chocolate, don't forget, you've got to spread it, and what we're going to do now is just give it a little tap. I don't use the whole thing. This is just to level out the chocolate. I might actually use a tray for this. The idea is to sort of have it nice and even so you can't actually see the back of the bubble wrap, so it needs to be relatively thick. Waste of chocolate? Not in your life. This is the best chocolate to eat. Got a real crunch factor to it. It's really nice and shiny. We're just going to leave this to set. We're going to give a little bit of a kink to it, and it's going to give us little shines. Our mousse has now been sitting in the fridge, so it's become quite firm. You can just have a little squeeze in there, right? It's become a little bit stiff. This is actually what it happens to when you spread it onto a cake and you put it in the fridge, your ganache, but now we're going to aerate it again. So back onto our mixer, and about another 10 minutes of whipping it up, and then it has to go back in the fridge again. Whisk. I can see it's getting lighter now, so I also need to make sure that you scrape the sides as you go, and I'll just show you a little bit and see how much lighter that's gotten. It's still not as light and it's still not as aerated as we need it, so it's now going to go back in the fridge for another 10 minutes. Now you need to always cover it up when you put it in the fridge. Make sure you glad wrap it so that it doesn't form a skin. To show you how to do the orange. Again, make sure that your chocolate is in the right temperature zone. What you can also use to bring the temperature up, because it'll drop of course, is a hairdryer. Just infusion of a little bit of heat with a hairdryer and keeps your chocolate above 28 degrees. Now a little orange has been wrapped in Glad wrap, and it's just a matter of dipping it about halfway, and you just need to make sure that you tap the bottom off. Then we're going to build up a little base, and again that's another nice little simple way. If you haven't got any acetate or you haven't got any transfer sheet, all you need is just a little bit of fruit and just build up a bit of a base. These are really also quite nice, not with just mousse, but you can also put fruit in there, like some berries in summer, strawberries and blackberries, etc. That's quite nice as well. So we'll leave that to set. That doesn't take very long, and I'll come back when the mousse is done. I'm just going to use this little bit of cutlery here. Just going to cut some leaves out to trim the top of our mousse cup after. So I just spread a little bit of chocolate on top of that, and you can use a cookie cutter for this. I'm just going to use a knife and just cut out little shapes. Need to work just before it's set. Just leave that sitting for a minute, and you can see what I've done here. The bubble wrap, I'm actually going to rest that on a rolling pin just to give it a bit of a shape, so when we take the bubble wrap off we've got a bit of a concave shape to it. That's going to need to go in the fridge to set as well. Everything is dependent on the weather, so it depends on what climate you're working in. Working with chocolate can be a little bit problematic, of course, if it's warm, as it's the case with us at the moment. However, that's why we use ice packs and the refrigeration if you're working at home. And if you happen to be in a commercial premises, well, you've got the advantage of a cooler, so that's really great. Now this is a little bit of transfer sheet that I've spread chocolate on. Now I'm just going to indent some shapes in here before we actually set the chocolate. This is just to give us a little bit decorations. I'm just going to sort of do some facsimile of some leaves that we're going to then peel off and put on top of our mousse cup. Now I'm kind of sort of finished with this chocolate. You can see it's out of temperature, it's gone quite thick. Going back to our mousse, we're coming back out of the fridge again with that. Again, it's firmed up. It's been another 20-minute interval since we had it in the fridge last time. Now once this is actually sort of got the right consistency, there is no way it's going to go back to the former mass that it was before, which is the ganache, because unless you actually warm it up and heat it through again. Now we're going to pop it in and it gets another whisk through. Now it should become lighter again. So this is the third and final time now, and you can see how beautiful, light and fluffy that has become. I'm going to pop it in the fridge for just 10 minutes until I get my cups ready, and then we can ready pipe it in, and it just needs another final set. So we now got the mousse ready for piping. So I'm just going to pipe it into our little cups. Little lace with this one, and I've just got some little chocolate shavings here. There we go, there's those. You can see I had it sitting over the rolling pin. There we go, there's this. You now can break this off into little pieces, and you could serve something like that with your dessert. Isn't that fantastic? Looks really great, doesn't it? Just imagine in the middle of a cake, you can put this as a decoration, as a centerpiece, put some handmade chocolates around it, and all that. So here we go, some mousse, simple mousse made from ganache. Enjoy!